So let us move to another topic, and this topic is inflation and its measure. Now, what exactly is the meaning of the word inflation? So, known to everyone, inflation is a state where prices of goods and services they increase. So, when inflationary pressure is there, you will have less money. Means the purchasing power of the money is going to be reduced, and it is going to affect the consumption expenditure. On the other side, just opposite of inflation, we have deflation. So deflation is a situation where prices of goods and services they are falling. Yes, and when deflationary pressure sets in, after some time, if they are not controlled, yes, it will lead to recession. Now in recession, yes, your output will start falling. And once recessionary pressure there, it's a very difficult, it becomes very, very challenging for the country to come out of that. And that's why we have to discuss each and every aspect. Coming back to now inflation. Okay. Now in our previous classes, we have discussed in detail the concept of inflation targeting. Yes, inflation basically is a precondition for growth. Up to 4%, or you can say in between 3 to 4%. 3 to 4% it is said to be ideal. For growth, inflation, I repeat, is a necessary condition. Okay, what is the target we have set in? So in India, we are working at 4% inflation. Yes, we have to maintain 4% inflation because up to 4%, the relations between growth and inflation is a positive. But once rate of inflation exceeds 4%, the relationship becomes inverse. Yes, and that's why inflation targeting concept has come, and RBI has to make its policy in such a manner to keep the rate of inflation at 4%. So this we have discussed. Now, inflation basically, in a country like India, where market imperfection is there, yes, so inflation basically, they are of various types. Yes, so one by one I'm going to discuss. But broadly, if you go through the books, you can see inflation, they are of two types. Three types. First is called demand pull inflation. Second is called cost push inflation. And the third is called structural inflation. Okay, let me now discuss one by one. Now, demand pull inflation and cost push inflation, we have already discussed while discussing the fiscal policy, and that too, market borrowing. Yes, in brief, demand pull inflation, they are mainly because of the mismatch between demand and supply, provided demand is more than supply. And one of the main reasons behind that is excess money supply. Moreover, growing population is one of the reasons. Second, we have discussed cost push inflation. Yes, it is possible that there is no mismatch between demand and supply, still prices are increasing. It's mainly because production cost is increasing. So if production costs increase, producers are left with no other option than to increase the prices to cover the cost. And here in India, both the inflation you can see. Now the third, since these two we have discussed, and that too with reference to Indian economy, so I'm not going to take up these two again. Now come to structural. In many cases, you can see structural inflation and cost push inflation, they overlap. So few points are common basically. Yes, in economy, things are interrelated. So come to structural inflation. Now this inflation is mainly because of a structural problem, mainly structural rigidity. Yes, our structure, the economic structure, it is not responding to the time according to the time, and that's why it will lead to structural inflation. Okay, let me give one example. This problem is more prominent in case of agriculture. Okay, now food consumption or food items. So as population is growing, yes, demand for food grains is a necessity. So demand for food grains, it is increasing all the time. But there are many constraints on the supply side. supply side bottleneck. Okay, we have not been. There are many cases. Okay, we have not been able to increase supply because of various constraints like agriculture, finance, maybe okay, maybe marketing, maybe there is storage, maybe their movement, particularly because of the rainy season. So because of these things, agriculture supply remaining the same, but on the other side, demand is increasing. Particularly, I am concerned with urban area. Okay, so demand is increasing because of structure, but on the other side, because of structural rigidity, we have failed to increase the supply. Supply of agriculture has remained the same, and there are many cases where what we have seen, ki agriculture output, despite high demand, it is falling. So what exactly is the reason behind that? So these things I will discuss when we discuss in the end. Yes, the economic survey, where few very interesting observation has been mentioned. Okay, so that's why I said कि these three types of inflation, they are basically working. So structural inflation is mainly because of structural rigidity, isn't it? So coming back to now, the main issue. So inflation and growth, yes, two-way relationship, and that's why it is said to be growth-inflation paradox. These things you have to remember, because Government of India fiscal policy is working on growth theory and RBI's monetary policy is working on inflation theory, and that's why the relationship between these two becomes very, very important. Okay, now when prices increase, let us see its measures. But before that, one more example I would like to give you. In India, prices are increasing because of other reasons as well. Maybe holding. Holding is also one of the reasons behind rising prices. Another, speculation. Yes, on the speculation, people speculate that in the future prices they may increase. So yes, they increase the prices. Demand suddenly increases, leading to high prices. Let us see again. If people of India speculate that in the future, in the coming days, prices of few goods and services, they are going to increase. They are going to likely to increase. So what they will do? So they will increase their present consumption. So as a result, at present, current demand is going to increase, leading to high prices. So there are various reasons. Moreover, the suppliers, particularly retailers, yes, they are also one of the reasons behind that. Yes, there are many cases we have seen that they charge extraordinary margin, extraordinary profit, so leading to high prices. Yes, so market imperfection, in India particularly, it is more in case of rural area. So coming back to now, its measure, inflation, its impact. Okay. Now, when inflationary pressure sets in, it's good if it is in between 3 to 4%, but beyond that, it is going to harm the people, because once rate of inflation is high, we are going to lose our purchasing power. Moreover, when inflationary pressure is high, it is going to hurt exports of India. The reason being, exporters, they sell the goods outside India, but where the goods are being produced? Within India. So in India, inflationary pressure has set in, so leading to high production costs. And exporters, they are businessmen. Whether they are selling their goods within India or outside India, they need profit. So if the production cost of goods to be exported, if it has increased, what they are going to do? They will have to increase their price of exported goods. So in the international market, Indian goods are going to be costly. And in the international market, yes, we have to compete with other countries. And in comparison to other countries' goods, our goods are going to become less competitive because of high prices. So our exports are going to fall. So when our exports are falling, yes, what will happen? Supply of hard currency is going to come down. Now, if supply of hard currency is going to come down, what will happen? Rupee is going to be weak against dollar. And moreover, these things I will discuss under BOP. Yes, moreover, the current account deficit is going to increase, creating more problems for the government on external front. So basically, prices, they play a major role. Price movement, yes, you will have to check the volatile movement of prices. Prices, they have to be kept. Prices, they have to be kept within a certain range, and for that, all the governments, they are working. Now, to control the prices, there are three measures. They can be followed in every country, particularly in India. First is monetary measures, exercised by RBI. Second is administrative measures exercised by Government of India. That is called, yes, administrative measures. See, and the third is fiscal measures, again exercised by the government. Fiscal policy, they are also helping inflation to come down. Third, I said administrative measure. Why administrative measures? Reason being, okay, see the case of hoarding. Now, because of hoarding, what happens? Artificial shortage is created and then prices increase. They produce these people, okay, those who are involved in hoarding, they try to reap more and more benefit through hoarding. Yes, so this problem, okay, cannot be solved using fiscal policy and monetary policy. And yes, here administrative measures of the government, they are going to play a major role. And that's why I said that three measures they can be taken. They are being taken in every country, including India. Monetary measures exercised by RBI, fiscal measures exercised by the government of India, and the third is administrative measures, again coming under government. So out of the three very powerful measures, two are coming under government. And that's why if the prices are increasing, you cannot blame the RBI alone. Yes, you cannot blame the RBI alone, because there are many things which are beyond the means of, okay, or beyond the reach of RBI. For example, hoarding. RBI cannot do anything. Moreover, okay, if the tax rates are increased by the government, prices are going to increase. What RBI can do? Yes. So these two policies, means central government and the RBI, they will have to work, okay, with each other. They have to complement each other, and then only prices can be kept within the reasonable limit. Okay. Now, when prices increase, what will happen? Its impact. Now, it is said that when prices increase, okay, it's the common people, particularly the low-income group people, they are being hurt very, very badly, because okay, the purchasing power of the money will be lost. So that will lead to less consumption. Less consumption means less demand. Less demand means surplus output. And yes, it will lead to slowdown of economy. This we can see okay, on many occasions in case of India. So let me now discuss its impact in detail. Okay, what happens okay, when prices increase? What? Okay. Yes, it is said that okay, when prices increase, it will have multiple impact. Okay, and Indian economy is going to be hurt. Okay, not only in internal front but also on external front. This I have discussed. Okay, it will cut the exports of India. Now, during inflation, okay, when prices increase, yes, it is going to hurt the people. But to what extent? Okay. Suppose what government says, okay, prices have come down, and that's why it will lead to welfare. Okay. So this statement may be correct, okay, may not be correct, because we will have to see okay, prices of okay, which commodity, maybe which goods as well as services they have come down. Okay. If prices of those goods and services they have come down, which are consumed by the masses, definitely it will lead to welfare. Okay. But if the prices of those goods and services they have come down, which are mainly okay, consumed by the rich people, high income people, then okay, it is not going to affect the poor people. Okay, see the example. In the recent times, okay, you can see there is a crisis in the automobile industry, and because of this lockdown, okay, what has happened? The automobile industry, okay, they have cut the prices of the four-wheelers heavily. Okay, so prices of four-wheelers, particularly cars, they have been cut by automobile industries, okay, by heavy magnitude, and government is claiming that it will increase benefit. It will help the poor people. Okay, do you think government is correct? No. Okay, because the poor people, the common people of India, they are not spending on four-wheelers. Okay, they will get benefit only when prices of those goods and services, okay, they decrease, which are consumed by the poor people. And that's why the concept of weight becomes very, very significant. Okay, because right now we are going to okay, move towards the measure of inflation. Okay, weight matters. Okay, yes, weight means the quantity you consume. Yes, if weight is very high, okay, consumption quantity consumed is very high, then a slight change can make big difference. Let us now see one example. Okay, two things are consumed by everyone or in every household: salt and sugar. I repeat again, two things are consumed in every household. Okay, salt and sugar. Yes, but the quantity consumed is different. In every household, suppose you use house basically, consumption of salt per month is 1 kilogram. To make the calculation easy, consumption of salt per month is 1 kilogram, and dose of sugar is 10 kilogram. So consumption of sugar is a 10 kilogram. Means weight of sugar for you people is a 10 times more than those of salt. See the example again. Consumption of salt is only 1 kilogram and those of sugar is a 10 kilogram. Now, prices of these two goods, they have increased. Price of salt has increased by rupees 2 per kilogram. Price of salt has increased by rupees 2 per kilogram. But those of sugar, it has increased only by 50 paise per kilogram. Only 50 paise. Okay. So, in rupees term, prices of salt, they have increased by a higher magnitude, by rupees 2 per kilogram, but those of sugar, it is only 50 paise. But in which case, your budget of the kitchen is going to be disturbed more. Yeah, you will say sugar. Okay. Why sugar? Although price of sugar has increased only by 50 paise, but because of high weightage, high consumption, okay, it will have more impact on you. Okay. Mere increase by 50%, but its weight is 10 times more than those of salt. So your kitchen budget is going to increase by rupees 5 per kilogram. Okay. But in case of salt, although price of salt has increased by rupees 2 per kilogram, but because consumption, quantity consumed, weight is very low, only 1 kilogram, yes, okay, your kitchen budget is going to inflate only by rupees 2. So what matters, okay, not only prices, okay, yes, prices when they change, they will affect, okay, they will affect, but whom, okay. Some people, they may be affected, some people, they may be not. And moreover, okay, what is the impact, okay, impact will be on more or less. It is totally depend on the quantity consumed, that is the weight. That is the weight. If the weight is more, I hope you got the meaning of it. If the quantity consumed is more, if the weight is more, okay, in that case, a slight change in the prices, okay, will have more impact. And if the weight is low, big changes, okay, can make less difference, or you can say less difference. Okay. What about, okay, if the quantity or weight is zero? What about if the quantity or weight is zero? If weight of one product is zero for you, it means you are not spending on that product. Okay. It means, okay, your weight for that product is zero. In that case, what will happen? Whether prices they fall or increase, it is not going to make any difference. Okay. So because that product is not coming in the, okay, consumption basket of the common people, and that's why I said keep prices, okay, change in prices, and when we say its impact, we will have to see first, okay, second, basically first is price and second is called its weight and the quantity consumed. Now different people, okay, their spending pattern is different. Okay, on those things on which I am spending, okay, it's not the case with you as well. Your expenditure, okay, is totally different. And moreover, okay, those things possible hai ki you are spending on those goods, okay, I may not, okay. And that's why one method cannot be applied universally. Okay. If Indian population is 135 crore, so we need at least, okay, 135 crores, okay, indices. Okay. Because the expenditure pattern, yes, it's totally different. It varies from person to person. Okay, but it is practically not possible. So let us now go to, okay, the measures of inflation. Okay, I'm going to discuss everything one by one, because we must be knowing, as a matter of policy, government has to know what has been the rate of inflation. Okay, because it is some sort of a very powerful tool, basically input. On the basis of that, yes, policy is being formulated and implemented. For example, if the rate of inflation in India has remained 10% for the last 1 year, it means people of India, they have lost their purchasing power by 10%. Now it is the duty of the government to compensate for the losses, and see what government does. Okay, to the government employee, it is going for DA, dearness allowance, Mahagai Bhatta. Why DA, dearness allowance, is given to the employee? Okay. DA, if the government is providing some additional DA to the employee, it doesn't mean that in real term, okay, their salary has increased. In nominal term, their salary is going to increase. But in real term, okay, their salary is not going to increase. Basically, DA is provided, dearness allowance is provided to the employee to compensate for the losses. Okay. Losses means loss in the purchasing power of the money, okay, so that they don't lose that purchasing power. So that's why came the case of DNS allowance. Okay. So when government goes for deciding about the rate of DA, yes, okay, government must be knowing what has been the rate of inflation, and that's why there are various measures of inflation. Okay, so I'm going to discuss now mainly two, that is called WPI and CPI. WPI and CPI. Okay, there are two main measures of inflation. Okay, WPI and CPI. Okay. WPI wholesale price index, and this is consumer price index. Okay. Earlier, okay, our headline inflation, the main measure of inflation, it was WPI. And now we have moved for the last 3 to 4 years when Raghuram Rajan was the RBI governor, we have moved from WPI to CPI. Okay. See what exactly is the difference between WPI and CPI and which one is more suitable. Which one is more suitable for Indian economy. Okay. Now see the proper sequence. Okay. Let us see the case of goods. Now producers, okay, they produce and they supply goods to the wholesaler. From wholesaler, it goes to retailer, and we people of India, we buy from retailer. Okay. So there are two prices, wholesale price and retail price. Now why India was going for wholesale price? So reason being, over the retail market, over the retail prices, particularly okay, the food, vegetable, food items, okay, government has no proper control. No proper control. Okay, because retail market is a very, very unorganized, and moreover, what we can see, okay, I repeat again, mainly in case of okay, fruits, vegetables, okay, and cereals, etc. So market-wise, prices they fluctuate. Okay, yes, in the same city, okay, see the case of Delhi. Okay, in different markets, prices they vary. In different market, prices they vary. Not only that, okay, in the same market, at different point of time, okay, prices they vary. Okay, not only that, okay, at the same time, in the same market, what retailers are doing, okay, they are charging different prices from different types of customers. Okay, suppose okay, you are a resident, and once your class is over, you go to some vendor. Okay, what is the rate? Will tell you 10 rupees per kilogram. 10 rupees per kilogram. If you are on a scooter, okay, it will be 15 rupees per kilogram. If you are okay, on a car, so it will go up to 20 rupees per kilogram. And if you are a female, then it will be 30 rupees because bargaining will be there. Okay. So what we can see, key retail market particularly, okay, food and vegetable, okay, is a totally unorganized. Totally unorganized. And government of India has no proper control over retail prices. And that's why India was going for WPA, wholesale prices. Wholesale prices, okay, because government assumes that, okay, if wholesale prices are increasing, retail price they will also increase, and vice versa. See the point? Okay. Why government was going for WPI? I give the answer. And moreover, okay, the government was working on the assumption that there is a direct relationship between wholesale price and retail prices. If the wholesale prices are increasing, retail price they will also increase. That is true. And if the wholesale prices they come down, the retail price also they will come down. Okay. But practically that never happens. Okay. In the reverse mode, things are not working. Okay. If the wholesale prices they increase, retailers they will have to increase the prices. But what we have seen, when wholesale prices are coming down, retailers they don't decrease the price. Okay. They try to get most of the benefits okay, out of this falling prices, and the benefits of the falling prices they are not transferred to the consumers. So there are many issues with India, okay, and that's why okay, WP was criticized. Let us say other reasons are there. So now we have moved from WPI to CPI, Consumer Price Index. Now, WPI, where inflation was measured at wholesale prices, and here it is at retail prices. It is at retail prices. So yes, because we people of India, we do not deal with the wholesaler, we deal with the retailers. So it's a more practical. It's a more practical, no doubt. It's a more challenging as well. More challenging as well. Okay, so WPI and CPI, okay, see the difference, okay, what are the differences, and moreover, okay, we will make a comparison. Okay. Every method has its own merits and demerits. Okay. Nothing can be called perfect. But anyhow, okay, we can say CPI, it is an improvement over WPI, and one by one. Okay. First, in case of WPI, okay, In case of WPI, only goods, only goods, okay, only prices of goods they are considered, only prices of goods. But we know, okay, in case of CPI, it's goods as well as services, goods and services, okay, goods and services, okay, both are prices of both are considered, and that's why it is an improvement over WPI. Now, in case of WPI, only goods are considered, prices of goods are taken, but in case of CPI, prices of both goods and services they are considered. Now, after 91, we have seen the Indian economy has simply exploded, particularly service sector. And nowadays, people of India, they are spending more on services rather than goods. Again, I repeat again. Right now, people in India, they are spending more on services, okay, than goods. And if we don't include services, okay, then what will happen? Okay, it is not going to be called a good measure. Yes, okay, GDP data is telling the same story. Yeah, contribution of service sector in total GDP. Okay, contribution of service sector in total GDP. Right now, I hope it's a 54%. Okay, and it is increasing. Yes, you can check yourself. Okay, see your expenditure behavior, and yes, you will realize you are also spending more and more money on services. Yes, so people of India, yeah, out of their total expenditure, their share on service they are more, and basically WPI. WPI, it does not include services. Okay, and that's why, okay, CPI is more relevant. Okay, more relevant, yes. Okay, and this is the reason. This is the reason. Okay, WPI, it is considered, okay, only in few countries. Only in few countries. Only few countries are there where they take WPI as headline inflation. But CPI, okay, is followed in more than approximately 157 countries. Okay, 157 countries. Now, 117 countries in the world, they follow CPI rather than WPI. Reason is clear now, because in case of WPI, we take only prices of goods. Okay, in case of CPI, both goods and services, they are included. And yes, I said earlier, people of India, they are spending heavily on services. In fact, they are spending more on services than goods. And that's why CPI is more relevant. Okay, this is the second difference. Now come to the third. Okay. Now, third is, okay, WPTI. Okay, the items covered under WPI is fuel. Okay, fuel, then power and manufacturing item. Fuel, power, okay, and okay, manufactured item, and moreover, okay, manufactured item, etc. Okay, etc. But here the basket is very big. Basket is very big. It includes, space is very left. Okay, let me explain. Okay, WPI includes. Okay, WPI includes. Okay, fuel, power, manufactured item, and yes, food item. Okay, but CPI, okay, is, okay, basket is very big. CPI, since it includes services, so under CPI, what are the things included? So it includes, okay, education, okay, it includes food, it includes transportation, it includes communication, it includes, okay, apparel, it includes housing, and yes, okay, medical care as well. Okay, so CPI, okay, its basket is very big. And yes, these are the things where we people nowadays, we are spending lots of money. Again, I repeat, okay, it includes food as well. Food is common, okay. It includes food, it includes education, it includes transportation, communication, medical care, apparel, XYZ. And that's why, okay, yes, CPI is more relevant than, better than WPI. So this is the third difference. This is the third difference. Okay, when we move forward, we will discuss कि CPI, right now, okay, there are 4 types of CPI. There are 4 types of CPI. Okay. Yes, so in case of WPI, okay, let me write, okay, on the top so that you can see. Okay. Yes, in case of WPI, 697 items are covered. Okay, 697 items are covered. Now, since CPI, they are of 4 types, let me discuss now. Okay, one is called, okay, CPI urban. CPI for urban area. Okay, second is called CPI, okay, for rural area. Rest two I will discuss after some time. These two are the main. And moreover, we have CPI combined, means all India. So under CPI urban, okay, CPI urban, yes, 460 items are considered. 460. And under CPI rural, we consider, okay, we consider 448 items. Okay, 448 items. Okay, so here, okay, the items, they are different. And yes, remember, CPI includes goods as well as services. So WPI, the headline inflation earlier, it includes 697 items. Okay, where the prices of 697 items, they are considered. But under CPI, since they are so many, so right now we are considering two only: CPI urban, okay, for the urban people separately, and CPI, consumer price index, for the rural people. And here we consider urban, we take 460 product, okay, both goods as well as services. And in case of rural area, it is 448, because our urban people normally they spend, okay, on more goods and services than the rural people, and that's why number of items in rural area, it is less, okay, not by too much anyway. Moreover, here the base reference is financial year. Okay, base references financial year. Okay, it means data is published basically on the basis of April to March. Okay, April to March. So here the base reference is financial year, and here the base reference basically is a calendar year. Here we follow calendar year, okay, to declare the data. Yes, every time you can see, suppose this is the month of July, so you can see, okay, reports are going to come anytime. Key government in the newspaper, it is provided, it is given, कि for the month of July 2020, okay, yes, this was the rate of inflation, CPI. Okay, so here the data is presented on basically calendar basis. Here we are going for, okay, yes. Now regarding WPI, one more thing, 697 items, 697 items, okay, and here data is released, okay, by the government, okay. See, food means primary items, okay, then power and fuel, okay. So here data is released on weekly basis, and the other items, basically manufactured items, okay, here data is released on monthly basis, okay. So two ways here data is released, okay. In case of WPI, I said, so in case of WPI, okay, primary goods, normally, okay, food, power and fuel. So here the data is released, okay, on weekly basis, but okay, in other cases, manufactured items, data is released on monthly basis. But in case of CPI, it is not the case. It is not the case. CPI data is released, okay, on monthly basis. Okay, no weekly basis, okay, no fortnightly basis. Yes, okay. So this is one of the difference as well. Okay. Now come to the next difference. Okay. Now come to these things are very simple. You can do yourself. Okay. Now WPO data, it was basically released by Office of Economic Advisor. Office of, okay, Economic Advisor. Okay. Yes, coming under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Okay, coming under Ministry of okay, Commerce, okay, and Industry. So WPI data is released by, okay, released by, okay, advisory of, okay, Office of Economic Advisor, okay, coming under Ministry of Commerce. And CPI data, it is published by basically CSO, okay, Central Statistical Organization, and this is coming under Ministry of Statistics and Program. Okay, it is coming under Ministry of Statistics, okay, and, okay, Program. So yes, other two different departments, okay, they are responsible, okay, program. So see, who is publishing the data? It's important for examination. Okay, WPI data is basically released by, okay, Office of Economic Advisor, Ministry of Commerce and okay, Ministry of, okay, Commerce and Industry. And CPI data, it is released by CSO, coming under Ministry of Statistics and Program. Okay. So these are the other differences. Okay. Now the main thing that is called base year. Okay. Base year is going to be very, very important when we make index. When we make index, the base year is the year against which we make a comparison. See, there are many things which are always relative, increase or maybe decrease. Okay, suppose you come to me right now and say, sir, price of petroleum product has increased. Okay, it's a relative thing. It means you have in your mind some old prices. Okay, and yes, that price is base year, and against that, you make a comparison and say, sir, it has increased. Prices have increased. So increase and decrease, they are always relative. So what is going to the base year? Base year should not be too old. While I was discussing GDP, GNP, this I have discussed in detail. Okay, so base year should not be too long. So here, base year basically is 2000 right now, 2011-12. 2011-12, and all the time base is getting shifted. Earlier it was 2004 and 5. Okay, since we follow financial year here, so earlier the base year was 2011-12, and in case of CPI, right now we are following 2012. Okay, earlier the base was 2010. Okay, see the difference. Okay, since in case of WPI, we follow accounting year, we follow financial year, and that's why at present the base is 2011-12. Earlier it was 2004-5, and it was shifted further. Yeah, maybe possible in the coming days, base is going to be shifted forward. Remember, base cannot be shifted backward. Okay, because base should not be too old. Otherwise, you cannot make a concrete conclusion about the price movement. And in case of CPI, the present base is 2012. Earlier it is 2010. Now very soon we can see these two base they are going to be shifted very, very soon. So whenever the new reports are coming and the new set of data will be released by changing the base, then it will become your current. Now the main issue that is called the weight. That will make the things easy for you. Now mathematically, in percentage term, in rupees term, how the weight is calculated. It's a mathematics. Suppose we are two people, myself and you. And your monthly income is 4,000. Okay, and my monthly income is 8,000. Okay, your monthly income is 4,000 and my monthly income is 8,000. Okay, now both are spending on food items. Okay, but our expenditure on food item is the same. It means both are spending rupees 2,000 per month on food item. Okay, now see this and make a calculation. Your total income is 4,000, and out of that 4,000, your expenditure on food is 2,000. It means food item, they have 50% weight for you. Okay, it means you are spending 50% of your income on food item. So for you, weight of food will be 50%. Okay, see, I'm also spending 2,000 on food, but my income is 8,000. Okay, so I'm also spending 2,000 on food, but for me the weight is only 25%. Okay, so for me weight is on food item is going to be less. Okay, and since food items, their consumption, their demand is more or less price and income inelastic. It means they don't vary with the level of your income. They don't vary because of the changing prices. So demand for food items, they are price and income inelastic. It means they don't vary with the level of prices. Okay, I hope now you are getting comfortable. Okay, so as income increases, now the third person, whose income is 10,000, so when suppose he is also spending rupees 2,000, so for this third person, the weight of food is only 20%. So what matters? The percentage. Those things where you are spending a bigger proportion of your income, it means whose weight is more for you. Yes, and as income increases from here, food items, what we can conclude? As income increases, weight of food item is definitely going to reduce. So these things you have to take it. You got the meaning of the weight? Okay. Okay. Now you are a resident. Your example. Suppose you are a resident, okay, and you have come to suppose Delhi or maybe okay, to Allahabad, maybe to Lucknow, okay, to get ready for civil services. No problem. So whatever, since right now you are not working, whatever money you are getting from your parents, suppose 10,000 rupees per month. So okay, when you have come to Delhi for study purposes, so there are two things whose weight is very high for you. Okay, your weight is very high for you. Okay, sorry, the weight of two things is very very high for you. First is rent, and second is food item. On these two things, you are spending okay, a heavy proportion of your income. Okay, you can check. Okay, so those things where you are spending more in percentage term, whose weight is going to more. And see, okay, later on we will discuss the concept of agricultural labor, okay, agricultural labor, okay, or simply rural labor and urban labor. Okay. Now labor, they are labor, there is no difference. But why okay, we have gone for separate indices for industrial worker and rural worker? See, both are coming in the category of worker, but still we have gone for okay, separate indices for CPI IW for industrial worker and okay, CPI rural worker. Reason being, both are workers, but their weights for different items is different. Now, industrial worker, you know, in India, people mostly working in the industry, they have migrated from the rural area and they have moved to the urban area and they are working in the industry. So, whatever they are getting, whatever they generate their income, okay, they are spending okay, mainly on two things. Means weight of two things okay, it's a very, very high for industrial worker. Yes, okay, food and rent. Okay. But when we see okay, the agricultural labor, workers working in the agriculture sector, so their weight of rent, I hope, is a zero. Because the rural worker, agriculture worker, okay, they are not spending on rent or maybe very less, almost negligible. But when the same worker is moving to industry in the urban area, so they have to pay a higher rent, means bigger proportion of their income. Okay. So in the case of workers okay, working in the rural area, weight of rent is very very low, almost negligible. But okay, weight for food is still very high because whether you are working in the rural area or urban area, you have to go for consumption of food item. Okay. And that's why I said okay, weight matters. Weight matters. This is the reason since weights okay, of goods and services for industrial worker and rural worker, they are two different things. Okay, different thing. And that's why you can see, when we see the weights of, okay, yes, CPI IW, you can see weight of two things is very high. Okay, rent, accommodation, and second is food item. But when we see the CPI of rural area, rural worker, you cannot see okay, any weight for accommodation or maybe rent because they are not spending. But yes, weight of food there will be very, very high. Okay. So weight matters. So let us see now. Okay, whatever goods and services, they are included where? They are included in CPI or WPI. What are their weights? And then okay, the current scenario. Few very interesting things they have been discussed in the economic survey. So everything I am going to discuss, and yes, okay, questions are going to come from there. Okay, so let us now see the weights. See the weights.